Good afternoon. Hi, everybody. It is my great pleasure to introduce Tom McCook. Tom is truly a friend. He and I have talked together a couple of weeks here at the Academy and spent some time together over last summer. And you'll know how deep you can get in such a little time. Tom's a pretty unique character. And Tom, I'm going to embarrass you and then you can just get over it, okay? Tom is one of those rare teachers who has spent his entire life just practicing and practicing and practicing. I've never met anyone more prepared and more studied in this type of work, not just body, but mind and spirit. Tom is a true student and a true learner so that he can be a magnificent teacher. And we're so privileged to have him as part of our community and as part of, for me, I just love learning from him. Every time we get together, I learn something new about myself, about my body, about everything. So with that, Tom, I know that we're going to sort of go into an interview and then we're going to do some movement as well. So maybe you can introduce yourself as well a little bit and just tell us a little bit about your practice and how you have set yourself on this road, which started when you were a kid, right? Tom, you're on mute.
Oh, that doesn't quite work.
There you go. Now it does.
Okay. Well, welcome everybody. A great pleasure to be here with all of you, and thank you for taking the time to share this window we have together. I own a studio called Center of Balance in Mountain View, California, which is in the heart of Silicon Valley, and it's a wellness, Pilates, and movement center. And my career started in movement when I was 11 years old. I have 8 brothers and 3 sisters, and I'm the youngest. And I realized I better do something about the uphill battle. So I built a gym in my cellar when I was 11 with the goal of killing all my brothers. and when, by the time that could actually happen, I didn't want to do that anymore, but it was a strong impetus to actually learn and get strong at a young age. And I was training the whole neighborhood. I had kids doing push-ups between bricks and hitting punching bags and doing all kinds of stuff. And it just came very natural to me to connect physically with other people in that way. It was very rewarding. I didn't know at the time that I would do that for a living or I would end up where I am today. Fast forward till when I was in my 20s, I was managing Gold's Gym at night and going to school. And this is back in the 80s when there really wasn't fitness trainers. It was like at the beginning of that whole ad to the population. And I just was watching the way people exercise and I realized, wow, there was a lot of room for helping people improve in that regard. So I started my own business, and within 3 months, I had 40 appointments a week, and I've been full ever since. And for me, I feel very fortunate that I've stayed interested and curious about how the body's designed. So every year, I just have taken continued education for the last 35 years. And it's taken me in some unique roads. I got into body therapy in the late 80s, and that changed my perspective of the body and what does it really mean to help somebody be healthy opposed to just fit. And I think at this point, especially over the last 20 years, I've been teaching something called the Franklin method of experiential anatomy and imagery, which is based on how the body's designed based on evolution and how to use your mind, your biomechanics, and your attention to improve function for all the systems of your body, your joints, your muscles, your organs. And what I really believe for all of us in our wisdom circles and in our ability to age well, we all have to get curious about learning about how our body's designed and how to use it better. And I think just curiosity of that simple statement will lead everybody to using their body better and realizing we have this 24-hour relationship that's happening all the time called gravity. Gravity is 24/7, and we want to be in relationship with it where we're noticing, how do I actually align myself up with that gravitational pull that's helping me align with the planet, my purpose, and my place on this earth. So I think my teaching has come back to that of, okay, how do I use my intention, my spirit, and a better understanding of this amazing design to be fulfilled in life and help other people do the same. And my intention for you guys when we do this movement practice is to realize you don't need a lot of time. You just want to move often. And one of the things that we don't talk about a lot, we talk about getting stronger in the fitness world, but the truth is our body is designed to be efficient before it's designed to be strong. If you look at a herd of animals, when it looks at when a predator looks at a herd, it looks at the animal that has a glitch in its step, and that's the animal that becomes lunch. So in terms of using our body well, we want to put quality over quantity, so then movement feels better, and we're more interested on moving because it's a good experience. And I think just that in itself makes your attention change, and you have a better experience of your body if you're doing very simple things. So that's my brief statement. And I teach around the world, and I have teacher trainings in Pilates, and I have a nice staff that we work with, and I feel very fortunate to do what I like to do every day. Right now we're sequestered. This is my home studio. This is our studio's been closed for 10 weeks, and me and all of my staff, we're all working out of our house, teaching people around the world. So we're fortunate that we've been able to hold on to a good chunk of our business in this strange time. But it's I very much appreciate our time to be here with you, and I hope you appreciate what we do together. I think you'll find it interesting and useful.
I was going to make a gag about the skeleton in the back, but it's just too obvious, right? Something about the skeletons in your cupboard. We'll get there sometime.
Yeah, he's there just to remind me that, enjoy each day.
but joking aside, a lot of your practice is actually around the mechanics of the body and how it works, helping people to sort of see it and visualize it so that they can understand those mechanics. Can you talk us through why that's important? Why is it important to understand how our bodies work?
Consider there's three main things that we do to impair function. Three main things. Number one is less than optimal posture. Number two is unnecessary tension. Number three is moving in a way that the body wasn't designed to move. Said another way, against optimal function or biomechanics. So if you put all three together, your biomechanics dictate how long your body parts are going to last. So if you can get stronger and have less than optimal biomechanics, but at the same time, you're wearing body parts out. And our body's designed to last a lifetime. We want it to anyway. And you can upgrade your biomechanics by moving better. And typically, we don't tend to think about joints until joints hurt. And your joints are all most of the movement joints are synovial joints, meaning that they only get lubrication through movement, through the synovial fluid, which is the nutrition for the joint. So if you want to keep your joints healthy, you need to move them through all the ranges that they're designed to move. And also in and around your joints is where you have what's called the neuroreceptors that tell your brain where you are in space. So when you turn on your joints through simple mechanics, you're upgrading your mind map of where you are in space. So you immediately move better with less effort. And you can do that multiple times a day, and it's not strenuous, and it's a really good idea just to keep your body smart, fluid, and feeling efficient. So the mechanics, the movement mechanics dictate the function. So the better aligned you are, the less effort you use.
So let me drill into that. You create a mind map of how your body moves, and that makes you more efficient. Is that correct?
Yes, because think of your brain and your neuroreceptors from your brain to your body are connected. That's called proprioception. Your ability to feel yourself in space relates to tension, effort, position, ability to self-correct while you're moving, all relate to your ability to feel yourself in space. And like really good athletes, people that move really well, have a good proprioceptive loop. They might have a little bit more than most people, which gives them the ability to make things that look hard, they make it look easy because they have this strong link.
Right.
But we all can turn it on. We all can amplify it through some simple means that I'll share with you. And then when you go to do your exercises, you can do them more efficiently. You can self-correct while you're doing them without having to have a teacher there, because you can feel what you're doing. And ultimately, you can't correct what you can't feel. You might be thinking, well, I hope I'm doing it okay, but you don't really know.
So
you know,
that reception, that feeling sense of the body then allows you to better correct yourself in every movement of your life. And there's
24/7. Like if you're sitting like we are now, if I'm noticing like I'm rocked back in my seat and I'm starting to feel like, oh, my lower back's getting a little tense, my breathing's getting a little shallow, I can go, oh, it might be a nice idea for me to just rock up onto the center of my sit bones, which brings my head over my pelvis. Oh, now I notice my back feels better, my breathing's easier. And there's also a mood shift. So your position of your body and the tension levels also contribute to the mood you're in. Everybody just close your body down like this for a moment and close in and get narrow and narrow your view and just notice what that does to your mood. It doesn't make you open and expansive. So now come back up and just notice, oh, there is a direct mind-body link to how we are experiencing our body, our mood, our perception are all tied together. The body and mind are not ever separate. The body is faithfully listening to what you're thinking and doing all the time.
Tom, you give an exercise sometimes for people to think about their skull, and you give them some facts around, the weight of the skull and so on. Could you just walk us through that?
Yeah, I actually, speaking of that picture, I have it right here. So here's your head when you're in alignment. Your head basically weighs 12 pounds when it's in perfect alignment. Your head's like a bowling ball. Now, if you move it like an inch or two forward, look at how much heavier it becomes. It becomes 32 pounds. Then you move it a little more forward and it gets even heavier. So now the weight of your head is compressing your spine all day. And then we have to recover from that. And we go, oh, my neck is sore. I think I'll just stretch my neck. When that's not actually helping the situation as much as if we knew that, oh, I need to feel that I can get my structure better lined up as a practice, not as a one-off. So think of being in your body and having good posture is not a position, it's an event. Posture is an event. It's a living relationship with gravity and the ground all the time.
You've led. Go ahead.
And if you think of it that way, if you just think, just for a moment, just let yourself move a little bit and think every joint in your body is a fulcrum. And they're all balancing on what's below and above it with the ability to move. Like you're like a fighter plane. A fighter plane is inherently unstable. That's why it can move in all these different directions. Our body's the same thing. So good movement is basically just controlled falling. That's all it is. It's not like, oh, I'm fixed, now I'm going to move. It's like, oh, can I be fluid with gravity and let everything glide in relationship to each other? And it becomes a whole lot more interesting and alive too, which is pretty neat.
Tell us a little bit about the practices that you've stacked together, because you're not just trained in one thing. As you said, you've done 35 years worth of training in this. What would you say are the key practices that have led you to this kind of movement philosophy that you have?
For the first 20 years of my life, I did a lot of weight training, but in the second half of that, I started to feel a lot of tension and tightness in my body, and it was feeling less satisfying. So I just kind of ventured into body work. I took a training in shiatsu, and then I went into somatics, which is something that I still do to this day. Somatics, which is really your body and mind and spirit in its wholeness. And how do I include that in terms of how I am in the world, cultivating presence. And one of my main teachers is a man named Richard Heckler, who created something called the Strozzi Institute of Somatic Coaching and Leadership. And I've been studying with him for 30 years. So just being in that training with him was probably the first time that I was with somebody whose presence touched me profoundly, not having anything to do with anything he said. Where just the way he embodied himself with dignity and openness and connection just touched me in my chest, like in a way that I was like, wow, what the hell is going on here? So I really felt like I needed to study with him. So it just exposed to me what's possible around our own natural intelligence. And that just started me kind of hunting and pecking around. I did a 5-year apprenticeship in Feldenkrais, which is a form of movement retraining and body therapy. And inside of the middle of that, I got exposed to Pilates. And now I've been teaching, I've had a Pilates studio for 25 years. And it's more along the lines of mindful movement, where the movement is based on moving better instead of just getting stronger. Like, how do I use myself well so then I can approach my life with grace and economy and fulfillment? I did a lot of yoga for a lot of years. And I like to say something about yoga. I think one of the things that I have found that people, why they don't gravitate to particular disciplines is because they've made assumptions about the way it's supposed to be done. Like in the West, there's a notion that yoga means that if the more flexible you are, that you're doing better yoga. It has nothing to do with yoga. Really what yoga is your ability to stay present, kind, and sensible under pressure when you're doing the asanas. It's not who can stick their head further up their ass. You know, it's really not. It's not like how your range of motion is genetic. Everybody's a little bit different, but can I be skillful with myself inside of what I'm doing and not be hard on myself or compare myself to the person on the mat next to me? And that's the benefit of what's inside the practice when you question the overlay of what cultures put on top of systems. And in our culture, it's very image-based. Further, better, harder. And we've all been affected by that. So I've kind of worked on what's underneath, what's the beauty and benefit and brilliance of these practices that I can kind of dig into a little bit more and expose that and share that with people, so more and more people want to do movement and want to use their body and really enjoy it for themselves and in their own way. And then the Franklin method is something that I touched on. It's basically a system of using neuroscience, imagery, all different types of imagery, the biodynamics of the body, and attention to using touch, movement to upgrade all the systems in the body and being able to self-correct. And it's quite brilliant. And I use it in my teacher trainings, and I use it if I teach a Pilates workshop, say on the shoulder girdle and the spine. I'll give people a deep lesson on their spine and their shoulder girdle before we do any exercise. So then they have an understanding of their own body, and then they can apply that to the exercises. And then you start to realize if you were going to open the hood of a car to change the oil and you had never seen an engine before, you'd probably close the hood. So it's the same with your body. If you don't know what's going on under your skin, you're a little bit limited on where to put your attention. So it's a useful piece to add, okay, I'm going to learn a little bit about, okay, how does my shoulder girdle work? How does my breathing apparatus actually do its thing? You breathe 20,000 times a day. If you just improve breathing 1%, think of the benefit of that. That's huge. If you just improved your posture 1%, along with your breathing, you're going to see a shift in your mood. Maybe your lower back immediately starts to feel better. It's never the exercise that is the magic bullet. It's like, how do I cultivate more curiosity about my own practice and how that's going to benefit my life and what I'm committed to now?
You often, in every single exercise I've ever seen you do, you kind of ask people to notice how they're feeling, sort of pay attention to their bodies and their physicality. You also use some unusual words, Tom. Just in this discussion, you talked about skillfulness and grace, and you often talk about beauty and the beauty of movements. Can you just shine a light on why that's important to you?
Well, I think of your body has a particular beautiful design, just like an architect building a building. They would never like cut a board 2 inches out of what the plan was. So if you think of it, like your body has a particular way of moving that's inherent and established over millions of years of evolution. So you tapping into that allows you to really experience the intelligence of your body. And I always tell people, move in a way that if somebody was watching you, they'd want to join you. where it's inviting. You know, if you watch like an Olympic athlete, or you watch a figure skater or a gymnast, and think of what's inspiring about that. They're doing something you didn't know was possible. That's the inspiration. You go, wow, I didn't even know it was possible to make that movement look easy. And I think that's what we're designed to do. We're designed to move well, not strain. Never in nature do you see an animal strain unless they're about to get taken out. They all move with economy and grace and fluidity, because that's our birthright. Moving well is actually built into our system. It really is. We just have to come back to that, because we've lived in a world where we've had to sit for hours every day, and that's compromised our system. But we can get back to valuing that through short, consistent practices with curiosity and attention.
I'm sure I'm not alone in having gained my COVID-19 pounds. So maybe we can move to some of the things that we can do to get back into our body. Maybe as the world opens up, or if we're still at home, maybe as we're sort of sat in our homes trying to think about how to be more conscious and present in our bodies. Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's really a beautiful thing to move in community with other people too. If you ever want to jump into one of my MAC classes, that information will be available to you guys if you want to get online for one of my MAC classes too. And I also sent a link to where you can get a free month to something called Pilates Anytime, where I have 48 classes and tutorials, and you'll get a free month. You can check that out. There's no obligation to continue, but I recommend you'll get some good learning in there. You'll learn about the spine and the hips and the shoulders. Just do the tutorials and just see how it goes for you. I think you'll find it useful.
Shall we, Tom? Shall we start moving around?
Yeah. So why don't we all stand, if that's possible for you guys. And I'm just going to bring my camera up a little bit. And I want you guys to stand in a way that when you look down, your feet are about 6 inches apart and parallel. And as you're looking down at your feet, just unlock your knees slightly. You don't need to bend them a lot, just unlock them and lift all 10 toes off the floor. And as you lift all 10 toes off the floor, I want you to become aware of the ball behind your big toe, the ball behind your little toe, and your heel. And imagine those 3 points are like a triangle on each foot. And those are your key weight-bearing points on your feet. And you want to become acquainted with them. Then just lay the toes back down. Do that a few times. Lift the toes, feel the 3 points, or begin to actually notice them, and lay it back down. And just relax your shoulders, your neck. Now start to notice which one of the 3 are you tending to leave out. Typically, it's the front lateral point for most of us, because the feet tend to want to go more into pronation for more people. So just start to see, can I include that lateral point? And then lay the toes down. Just do that one more time. Very key ability to become aware of your posture from the ground up. Now, as you lay the toes down, lean a little forward on your feet. Come back to center, lean back slightly. Back to center, lean to one side. Back to the center, lean to your second side. Now, as you come to the middle, see if you can center the weight front to back, left to right, and put one hand on your lower belly below your belly button. And with your knees unlocked, your head right up over your spine, just close your eyes for a moment and start to take deeper than normal breaths through your nose, and see if you can breathe down into where your hand is. Let the belly come into your hand. And as you exhale, just let the weight settle down into your feet, but at the same time, imagine that you're lengthening out the crown of your head. So you're both settling and lengthening at the same time. And inside of settling, relax behind the eyes. Soften the jaw at the hinge by your ears and your chin, and let there be a little space between your teeth. And inside of lengthening, just imagine you're creating a little more space between each one of the vertebrae in your spine. And just let your arm hang, and just become aware of just the pressure on your feet, possibly temperature, and any pressures you're noticing. And then just softly open your eyes, and let's just set the general intention of this practice to be present, open, and connected. Connected to each other, connected to ourselves, connected to life. Now, as you bend your knees slightly, slide the shoulders straight up. And as you lengthen your legs, release the shoulders and let the spine lengthen. Imagine your muscles are mostly water. Bend and lift the shoulders and lengthen the legs and release the shoulders. And picture the muscles that lift your shoulders are not arm muscles. So no need to tense your arms as you're lifting the shoulder girdle. Do that 2 more times. Bend and lift the shoulders. Exhale, release into length. 1 more. And lower. Now we're going to enhance our proprioception. I want you to bring up your left arm and tap all sides of your arm, around the underarm, your armpit, around your neck. So tapping is a way to improve that sense of feeling your body, helping to let go of tension, position, effort, and it's free. Tapping is free. There we go. Now, as you come up to your shoulder, if you go right above your shoulder, you're on a muscle called your trapezius. So let your hand rest on it. Let the arm relax and bend your knees slightly. And picture you're holding a big, juicy sponge. Now, as you inhale, lift the shoulder forward and up, and at the top, give it a squeeze. Squeeze the sponge. Let it go back. Release the squeeze as it drops. Now, add your breath. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, lift and squeeze. Exhale, let it drop. Now this next time, lift, squeeze, and hold. Hold the squeeze and slowly turn your head left to right. And release. 1 more time. Lift, squeeze, and hold. Nod your head front to back. And release. Now this next time, as you lift and squeeze, slowly side bend your spine the other way. Now release the squeeze, reach through your fingertips and let it pull you back to the center. And again, lift, squeeze, side bend. Release the squeeze, reach through your fingertips, let it pull you back to center. Just 1 more time. Lift, squeeze, side bend. Release the squeeze, reach through the fingertips, come back. Now work your way down on what's called your deltoid, your shoulder muscle. Sponge your shoulder muscle. You're working your way down your arm. Doesn't sponging feel good? Forearm, hand, and every different touch, sponging, brushing, all hits different neuroreceptors. Now brush from your neck to your fingertips, and imagine any stress in your life that's served its purpose, is ready to go, it's going to be sloughed off. On its way to doing something more useful at this point. Now just take a moment and compare the 2 sides. You might notice the arm feels longer. If you take it out in front of you, it probably is longer. And notice the range of motion and ease in comparison to the one you haven't moved yet. So you just change your proprioception. When your brain gets the feedback, it let go of unnecessary tension that it realized it doesn't need. The other shoulder is the one we came in with. So let's take side 2. Let's tap all sides. Nice and smooth. We're waking up our body-mind map. There we go. As you come up right above your shoulder, put your hand on your trapezius. Relax your arm, bend your knees a little bit. Now take the shoulder forward, and at the top as you're breathing in, give it a squeeze. Release the squeeze back and down. And again, inhale, lift, squeeze. Release it down. Think of leaving the arm muscles relaxed so the shoulder muscles can do their job. And down. Now this next one, lift, squeeze, and hold. Slowly rotate your head left to right. And release. And again, lift, squeeze, and hold. Nod your head front to back. And release. Now this time with soft knees, as you lift and squeeze, side bend away. Now release the squeeze, reach through your fingertips, let the shoulder drop and pull you back to center. And again, lift, squeeze, side bend. Release the squeeze, reach through your fingertips, let it pull you back. Just 2 more times. Lift, squeeze, side bend. Reach through the fingertips, let it draw you back. And 1 more. Lift, squeeze, side bend. Reach through the fingertips, let it draw you back. Now work your way down, deltoid, sponge your shoulder muscle. bicep, triceps. Feel that feedback all the way down, all the way to your fingers. And now from your neck to your fingers, brush, sloughing off any tension remaining that you don't need. And then just take a moment to notice, just do a little consumer report. There we go. Notice the weight on your feet. Notice if you feel a little more open across your chest. Very quick. You could do this in 2 minutes. All these movements we're going to do, you could do them all at once, or you can just break them up. Now let's go into tapping our torso. All around the midsection. Now right around the bottom back of your rib cage is where your kidneys are. And it's a good idea to vibrate your kidneys. So with soft fists, soft knees, as you tap, make a little noise. Now I want you to tap down your outer hips, down your outer legs, up the front of your legs, down the back of your legs, up your inseams. And one more time, outer, front, back, inseams. Now tap your head. Notice the different sounds based on the density of the bone at different locations. Tap your face. Give your ears a little pull. And then shake out your limbs. Now I want to show you something about your shoulder girdle. Put your right hand on your left clavicle and just feel the shape of your clavicle. Clavicle attaches to your sternum and just feel how it's S-shaped. Now your clavicle is the beginning of your shoulder girdle. If you're ever wondering what your shoulder girdle is your clavicle, your upper arm bone, and your shoulder blade. That's actually your clavicle. But your arm connection to your skeleton starts here. That's the only bony connection to your whole body. Now just with your hand on your clavicle, take your clavicle back. And notice, can I take my clavicle back without tensing my arm? Now take it forward. And start to feel how your shoulder girdle is designed to easily slide around your rib cage. It's not designed to be glued to it. Feel that. Now do that with both, where you take both forward and back. But think of, you don't have to change your posture. And the thing you want to avoid doing is going up. Going up is fighting gravity. You don't need to do that. Stay aware of your feet. Unlock your knees. Now we're going to add the spine to this, but first, just when you take your arms forward, turn your palms in or away from each other, then turn your arms out and feel you're using your middle back, then you're using a little bit of your shoulders and chest. Let it be fluid. So we're going to do what's called flexion and extension of your spine. That means a forward back motion. So put your hand on your pelvis for a moment, bend your knees. Now just practice taking your tailbone to the front and draw your pubic bone towards your belly button. So curl the tail under. So you're going to round your lower back. Now send your tail to the back. And do that a few times where your head doesn't really have to move. Your legs are bent. And you can picture you're tipping your pelvis forward and back over the top of your legs. Now when you tip it back, hold it there, touch your front ribs, and sink your front ribs back so you feel your abs and you feel a bigger stretch in your lower back. Now take your tail back and open your chest. And again, curl, go really slow. Make sure your head doesn't go forward and back a lot. So I don't want to do this. It's really, I'm staying pretty vertical when I move. Now we're going to add the shoulders. So curl the tail forward, sink your ribs, roll your shoulders forward. Now send your tail back, shoulders back, and lift your heart. Now add an exhale. Add an inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Nice and smooth. We're moving together. We have a hint of a smile, nothing too conspicuous, just a little one. We're enjoying ourselves. There we go. We're giving to our spine. 2 more. 1 more, you guys. Now, I didn't mention this, between your head and tail, you have over 100 joints when you include your ribs, and they only get lubrication through movement, so we want to move them through all their ranges. That was one of them. Now, your legs bent, side bend to one side. Inhale, center. Exhale, side. Now to come up, press into the ground so you don't brace up here. So your arms and shoulders stay relaxed. And make it small as you need to so you can get all the tissue to start to become more lubricated, pliable, willing. One more each side. Last one. Now when you rotate, your lower back doesn't rotate. Think of the rotation as from the bottom of your rib cage up. So when you bend your knees, think of the front of your hips and your knees are like headlights. And the headlights are going to stay straight ahead. So you're not going to turn your pelvis from here up. So bring your hands to your shoulders. Roll your shoulders back. Stay in your feet. Now from here up, slowly turn without moving your hips. And now see if as you're turning, can you relax the tops of your shoulders? Keep your head directly over your pelvis and smooth out your breathing. Relax the jaw. Keep the knees and hips straight ahead and start to sense your foot points. Can I feel them as I do this to give me that feedback and stability with movement? Ah, very nice. Now come back to the center. We're going to do that whole thing one more time because practice makes perfect. So bent knees, tailbone forward, waistline back, shoulders forward. Now hold and exhale. Inhale, tail back, heart lifts. Exhale. Inhale to open. Exhale to empty. 3 more. Inhale, open. Exhale, empty. Inhale, open. Exhale, empty. One more time. Inhale, open. Exhale, empty. Now we're going to add something to the side bend. So shift your weight onto your right leg, bend that knee, and take your left leg out to the side. So it's like a rudder. You can take it off the ground if you want. Just doing that gives you more range of motion in your lower back. Now take your left arm across the front of your body and do a slow 4 count. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lengthen back up. Now put the weight on your left. Extend out your right. Bring your right arm across. 1, 2, 3, 4. Switch sides again. Put the weight on the right. Bring your left arm across. 1, 2, 3, 4. Last side. Put the weight on your left. Bring your right arm across. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hands back to your shoulders for rotation. Bend the knees, roll them back. Hips and knees straight ahead. Bottom of your ribs up, turn. Start to feel that you're keeping your head directly over your pelvis. You're feeling the stability of your legs, the fluidity of your spine, a hint of a smile. You're enjoying yourself. 3 more, each side. Awesome. Now let that go, shake it out for a moment. So right at this level, COVID-19, very effective on the lungs. Your lungs go all the way down to the back of your ribs because they're compelled by your diaphragm, which is at this level. We want to get more breath into the back lower part of our lungs. So I want you to just tap around the bottom of your ribs, all around there. Just picture, oh, that's my most important breathing muscle, is that level, my diaphragm. And I think I might have a picture that I can pull out and show you. So you get a visual of it. Let's see. Why not? Here's a nice schematic you can picture. So think of when you breathe in, this level is your diaphragm. Your diaphragm goes down and the lungs are compelled by it. It rides on the diaphragm. And it's at that level. And in your lungs, you have about a liter of blood that circulates through the lower part of your lungs a minute. The upper lungs is like a cup. So when we breathe shallow and high, when we're in anxiety, we're not oxygenating our body as well as we could. So we want to get the breath low. So the way we're going to do that, I want you to take your left hand and put it on your right low ribs. Bend your knees and take this arm overhead. Now picture you have these fibers on the inside of your rib cage, your diaphragm, and I want you to breathe into your hand right there. Now the exhale, slowly side bend away from your hand. Now let the inhale, breathing into your hand, bring you back up. Exhale over. Relax the top of your shoulder. Let the inhale bring you up. And again, exhale over. Now stay over. Take a breath into your hand. Exhale, go just a little further. Take another breath into your hand. Exhale just a little further. Now let the inhale from here bring you back up. Let your arm hang. Now just notice your breathing. You might notice when you breathe in, you feel more on that side now. You might feel more of an expansion. You're getting that inner body to move better and giving more space for your lungs. So let's take the second side. So put your hand on your low ribs, bend your knees, take your arm up, let the arm rest on your shoulder girdle. Breathe and feel it in your hand. Breathe into that space. Now slowly exhale away. Let the inhale bring you up. And again, exhale over. Let the inhale bring you up. Stay low in your body, stay in your feet. And again, exhale over. Now stay over. Feel the breath where your hand is. Slowly exhale, go a little further, no strain. Breathe into where your hand is. Exhale just a little further. Let a long inhale bring you up. And release. So now we're going to do this movement, which is like a figure 8, with our hands either here, or you can just cross them in front if you want. Now, what I want you to practice to do when you're doing this movement is just take a moment. Actually, let's just try this with our hands here for a moment. Let's breathe in for a count of 4, where you breathe into this hand first and let the breath come into this hand second. So start your breath through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now exhale through your mouth for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale through your belly, then chest. 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your mouth for 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now bring your hands here. Now slowly, as you roll the shoulders back, start to stir like you're doing a rowing motion with your shoulders. Now breathe in through your nose for 4. Exhale through your mouth for 4. And imagine what you're trying to do is hit all the surface area of your lungs. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. One more time, everybody. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. Now for the last 3, inhale, take your shoulders back, lift your heart and look up. Exhale, bend your knees and empty. Inhale, fill and open. Exhale, empty. One more time. Inhale, fill and open. Exhale, empty. Shake it out. Take a moment. Notice. Notice posture. Notice breathing. And let in all that energy you're feeling, that sensation, let it run. Don't block it. Let it actually run. Let that aliveness be. So we're building our capacity to feel and let aliveness run through our tissue. Be with that for a moment. Now let's go right into just a couple things for the hips, and then we'll call it right there. It's just, so at your pubic bone level is the level of your hip joint. So if you at your pubic bone level, if you go straight out to the side, you're going to run into a hard bone, which is called your greater trochanter. That's this guy. That's this guy right here. That's the outer border of your thigh. So that's the level of your hip joint. So when you hinge, you don't want to do this with your back. When we're trying to hinge correctly, you want to hinge from that level by sticking your butt out and going over with a flat spine. And it's better to bend your knees than to keep your knees locked. So stick your butt out and notice, can I hinge without changing the shape of my back? Very important skill. Number 1 joint in your body for movement, your hip joint. Number 1. We want to get really good at using it. So notice if you put your hand on your lower back has a natural indent. If your lower back starts to push back into your hands, you're rounding your back. You want to not do that. Hinge from lower. Stick your butt out and roll the pelvis over the top of your legs. That's a practice in itself. Fine to bend the knees quite a bit. Then notice, can I do it and keep my neck neutral? So my gaze will naturally go down. Now add to that, lifting one knee. Now you're hinging from the same place, but now you're just lifting a leg. It's still happening at your hip joint without changing the shape of your lower back. And press into your foot points on your standing leg. Then see if you can relax your shoulders. Then once again, hinge. Degrees of better. Think less about stretching. The muscles in the back of the legs will lengthen if you hinge correctly. Last option would be to squat. So have your feet about shoulder width apart, turn your toes slightly out. Now hinging from the top of your legs, slowly sit back into a chair and reach the arms forward. Now as you straighten your legs, press the arms back, take your clavicles back so you feel your middle back muscles. Inhale. Exhale. Feel your middle back, feel the back of your shoulders. 2 more times. Inhale. Exhale. On this next one, we're going to add the head. So press back, stay back. Now draw the back of your head back and up, and slowly turn your head to one side. Center, second side. Release 2 more times. Go into your squat. Inhale. Exhale, press back, shoulders back, back of the neck long. Turn your head. Center, turn, center one last time. Inhale. Exhale, press. Turn, center, turn, center. Now as you relax, soften your knees, put one hand on your lower belly, one hand on your chest, and see if you can just allow your structure to hold you up a little bit more and let the breath come down into your lower hand, unlock the knee joints. Let your peripheral vision open by relaxing your eyes, and sense that you can have feeling in your belly and your chest. And just imagine that you're feeling your width. Feel the shape of your body. Inside of our width, we can also feel our interconnectedness with each other in life. Let your arms just hang. Just take a moment just to be with posture, ease, aliveness. Nice to be with you guys. We'll call it right there. Thanks, everybody.
Oh, that was fantastic. I have a couple of questions before we get to that. Many of us face mindset challenges when it comes to our body, especially as we get older. What would you recommend as we sort of look at these types of exercises, or as we're looking to get back into our bodies moving forward?
Great question. Consider moving well is a practice. And the practice is bringing your full attention to what you're doing with curiosity and kindness. And then you're cultivating that ability to be that way with yourself. You know, I've been meditating a long time, and I used to, when I realized probably 10 years into it, a lot of my motivation for meditating, I do a lot of 10-day silent retreats, but there was a strong portion of me that was doing it to get away from the world, to get away from dealing with people. But the truth is, your movement practice can be a way for you to be grounded and connected in community and with other people. So if you hold that intention, oh, I'm resourcing myself because this is my resource. It's not just about exercise. It's about you having facility and connection to yourself so you can be more skillful in your life. So they're not separate. So if you hold that inside of your commitments that, oh, my movement practice is relevant to who I want to be in the world, then whatever comes up, just name it, say thank you. Thank you, I hear you, but you're going to be put in the passenger seat, not in the driver's seat. Because you're not going to extract that part of us, that conditioned tendency, that part of us that's hard on ourselves. Welcome it, acknowledge it. Give it a rightful place at the table. And then say, you know what, I'm going to pick something else today. And then I think you'll actually, that's the relationship with ourself that we have to keep cultivating. Because, you know, I think for years, I don't know about you guys, but I definitely have tried to extract that part of myself that I didn't appreciate. Hasn't gone so well. It just creates another contraction and rigidity and shuts down joy and responsiveness and inspiration. So I think it's completely fine if before this class, you've never had a movement class. You've never paid attention to moving better. It doesn't matter, because the truth is all you're doing is turning on what's there. You're letting it teach you by bringing your attention to it and adding a little bit of useful information. And being curious, just like we were at MEA. Be curious about this beautiful vessel we were given and how we can honor it. And I think that's really the opportunity.
We have a couple of questions in the chat that I'm just going to read. I'm also going to beg 2 or 3 extra minutes from you, Tom, unless you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
No worries. No worries.
Cara wants to know if you had food recommendations that go alongside your program, how people might eat as well as move better.
Sure. I mean, my quickest thing would be to eat as natural as you can, you know, unprocessed foods. And then one thing that I incorporated that's been very helpful is every morning I drink a large glass of warm lemon water. And I find that makes my body more alkaline, improves digestion, and it's just a great way to start the day that gets things moving. Just to, you know, squeeze half a lemon in some warm, you know, half regular glass and pour some hot water in it. And then, you know, drink a lot of water. I think the missing piece, we can be slightly dehydrated and it shuts down performance and you don't even know it. You know, drink at least, you know, 100 ounces of water a day if you can. It's just that is a big upgrade for everybody. And then I would just, you know, eat as much vegetables as you can. And when you're eating, just eat. So you're not eating, you know, reading or responding to emails, or, you know, let your body be with just eating. And if you can, give yourself a few minutes after you eat to relax, so your digestion can be improved, and then your body gets more nutrition from whatever you're putting in it. That would be my quick answer.
Nancy wanted to know why the sort of the lemon water and the alkaline is desirable in the body.
When an alkaline environment doesn't allow disease to be developed. Acidic environment is more of a stress response. Just like if you run and you go anaerobic and your muscles start to burn. Once you go into that anaerobic state, you're very close to where you have to stop. So if the more alkaline we can stay, the body is actually staying in a more parasympathetic, relaxed internal environment, which is very healthy for your immune system. And you're just from breathing the way we were breathing, where you breathe and you relax your breathing, you're becoming more internally alkaline from that type of breathing, which is very healthy for your body.
Are there any final questions? I know that people are still interested in this alkaline question. Is there anything else that people want to dig into before we lose Tom? Oh yeah, Cara wants to know about the moon artwork behind you.
That's my wife's piece of art from like 20 years ago. Charcoal.
Oh wow.
Beautiful.
That beautiful?
Yes.
She's a good artist. She's got some more downstairs that are really nice.
Okay, so Tom, we shared a link at the top of this to your 1-month sessions. Can you tell us 2 seconds about what we would get if we did those sessions?
If you just take the classes, like you could go to for Pilates Anytime. Pilates Anytime hosts all of the best Pilates teachers in the world, and they have, you know, there's 2,600 classes. I have 48 classes on there. I have a mixture of tutorials, mat classes, equipment classes. I recommend that you start with some of the tutorials. If you just go under my name, you'll pick up tutorials on the pelvis, on breathing. And then I would go with like the basic mat exercises where you don't need a lot of props. But if you want to have props to go with the class, you would want to get like a TheraBand. And there's these small balls called Franklin balls. And I can send a link for you guys so we can put it on the website, that if you want to order some useful props to have, you could have them at home, that are good tools to have when you do a class on your own where you don't need any other equipment. But you'll get like anywhere from, for the classes, anywhere from a 35 to 50-minute class that'll take you through a full body experience where you're being guided the way you were just now. And then the tutorials will go a little more into the experiential anatomy of each area. So you can learn about your body while you're doing it with me. I'll give you some information, then you process it, so it's not just theoretical information, it's more about experiencing your body. And I think you'd find that useful and informative.
Tom, it's beautiful to see you. Thank you so much. I know everyone enjoyed themselves and really, really enjoyed the stretch and the movement. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.